For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. K-Man Pharmacy Group, with a location in West Bay and professional pharmacy at CTMH Doctors Hospital. The K-Man Pharmacy Group has a location for you just around the corner. Seaboard Marine, with over 35 shipping ports, find your shipping solution by calling 949-4977 or visit seaboardmarine.com for competitive rates. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. And Fidelity Bank. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Also brought to you by Roper's Enterprises, 122 Industrial Way. Products and services for better public health. Green Turtle. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app, the future of mobile, saving lives today. And the Ministry of Commerce, Planning and Infrastructure. Visit energy.gov.ky/competition to win a home energy makeover worth up to $20,000.
This is For the Record with Ort Connor.
Coming to you live from Radio Cayman Studio.
For the record.
For the record. For the record.
Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you.
For the record.
Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
For the record.
For the record. For the record.
Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is your talk show.
1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Ort Connor.
Good morning and welcome to For the Record. Today is Friday, the 16th day of October 2020. I hope and I trust that everyone had a peaceful, restful, enjoyable evening and night. Those of you who are on the roads of the Cayman Islands, we ask you to please be extremely cautious. If you're a pedestrian, if you're a cyclist, if you're operating any type of motorized vehicle on the roads of the Cayman Islands, please ensure that you observe the rules of the road and remember that the life you save may just be your own. If you're celebrating a birthday today, we want to wish you a happy birthday. If you celebrated one a few days ago, like Mr. Gerald O'Rankin, who celebrated his 86th birthday yesterday, Thursday, the 15th of October, and that there was a big shebang for him in East End yesterday evening as well. And also Dr. Frank McField celebrated a birthday yesterday as well. So I want to wish both of them a belated happy birthday also. For those of you who have lost loved ones over the past few days, past few weeks, again, we want to extend our sincere condolences to you. And we hope and we trust that your faith will help to carry you through these extremely challenging times, and that the memory of your loved ones will also sustain you as well. So, folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman and, by extension, For the Record into your homes, into your vehicles as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. As you know, For the Record is a show produced by the staff and the management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I am your host, Ort Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. During that period, our phone lines are open. There is always someone waiting to take your calls. This morning, it is the radio voice of Silver Fox, Mr. Paula Kyle. You can call us on our toll-free number provided courtesy of Flo. That toll-free number, 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037 and 949-6990. Of course, if you don't like to talk on the telephone, then email us at for the record, one word, for the record, at candw.ky. WhatsApp us 925-3261, where you can send us a text message or leave us a voice note, the contents of which will be played during the course of the show. And of course, you can follow us on YouTube simply by subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream. Before I introduce my guest this morning, I want to go over the COVID testing updates that we received. And I'm going to give you two updates. I want to give you one for the 14th of October. You may have heard this already. And then I'll give you one for the 15th of October yesterday as well. And on the 14th of October, the Chief Medical Officer, Dr. John Lee, reported that there were 463 COVID-19 tests that had been carried out since the last tests were done on Tuesday. And of those 463 tests, 4 were positive. The release went on to say that the 4 individuals are travelers or were travelers who tested positive as part of the routine screening, and they will remain in isolation until they have recovered. One of the individuals has mild symptoms of a respiratory infection. Of these and other travelers, high viral counts are now being seen, which have not been evident on island for many months. Another traveler in isolation who had previously tested positive for SARS-CoV-2 has now also developed mild symptoms. The patient admitted to the Health Services Authority remains on a ventilator, and the total number of people in isolation, either at a government facility or in their homes as required by medical officer for health, will be provided at a later date or shortly. They indicated that. So then we now have the update for the 15th of October, which would be yesterday. And the Chief Medical Officer, Dr. John Lee, reported that 361 COVID-19 tests had been carried out since it was last reported. All were negative. The release goes on to say that the Health Services Authority will be in contact with everyone needing testing on Saturday, 17th of October, as part of the emergency response at Red Bay Primary School. Testing will take place at the Health Services Authority's Cayman Islands Hospital, and the Health Services Authority will be providing appointment times along with further information in due course. The total number of people in isolation, either at a government facility or in their homes as required by the Medical Officer for Health, that will be provided. So we're still awaiting those numbers in that regard. So those are the reports, and I will discuss the whole issue of travelers and traveling and the challenges that we face with trying to further open up our borders. That conversation will take place with none other than Dr. Steve Macfield, who is in the studio with me again this Friday morning. Doc, good morning. Welcome back to For the Record.
Good morning to you, Mr. For the Record, and good morning to all of your fans and your audience in the For the Record land locally and in the diaspora. I just would like you to allow me to say a belated birthday to Dr. Frank McField.
Sure. Go right ahead.
I had no idea it was his birthday yesterday.
But how I discovered it was he was talking to someone and on the radio, and they mentioned Gerald's birthday, and then Doc said, "Oh, it's my birthday also. We share the same birthday." That's how I realized it.
Okay, all right. Usually in the old days, families' birthdays, you would know them ahead of time. There would be a big thing going on, but today you hardly see family anymore.
Yep.
They're all dispersed now. There's no nuclear family anymore in Cayman. I would also like to congratulate my good friend Sir Craig Marion for his knighthood. I understood that he was knighted by Lord Graham.
Yes.
At Lord Graham's kingdom.
One rest in the chat.
Yes, yeah, and so forth. Because somebody has to do it. There's no British Empire anymore. Although they're given MBEs and OBEs, but there's no empire anymore. It's only the shell now, and the only thing that the British has for them now is the kingdom, and I understand that soon that might not be intact because I see where the Scottish people now are. Over 50% of them now wants to be independent, wants to leave Britain. They want to break away.
And it's eventually going to come.
And eventually Britain will be an island alone in the North Atlantic. And it's and for all of those who are so excited about getting these accolades, so there's no empire, there's no India, there's no Canada, there's no Australia, there's no New Zealand, there's no Jamaica, none of those places exist anymore. And so it was fitting that Lord Graham knighted Craig Marion with
Craig Marion now
with his machete in the place of the sword, and I think that was so hilarious.
It was
so hilarious, and
it went viral very quickly too.
Yes, it went viral, and so now I would like to say good morning, sire. To Sir Craig Marion. You are now part of the honored, the Cayman honored clan. So with that, I would like to say yes. We are every time that we open up our borders now, there is something happening. Some people are coming in, and some people are testing positive. And I was just looking at some people were sending out some information yesterday. I think it probably was yesterday, or it may be on CNS. Why said that we only discovered the test that people are positive when they arrive in Cayman. I thought that people had to be tested before they got onto the airplane to come to Cayman. Has there been a change in that requirement?
I believe when the borders are open up, that will be a requirement. I think as it stands now, not necessarily tested before, but because they have to quarantine one way or the other when they get here, either at home or in a government facility. So that's why the pre-testing at this point in time, I don't think is necessary. But now that, using travel time and everything, I think that might be something different. But we'll try to clarify that during the course of the show as well. We're going to take a commercial break. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, with Dr. Steve Macfield. We'll be back shortly.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
As fate would have it, the early educational efforts of the islands were fostered on occasion by the arrival of shipwrecked seamen. The sister islands were no different, with the wreck of a mariner named Johnson, whose ship wrecked on Cayman Brac in 1863. Johnson would start a school which serviced not only children but adults too. In 1881, Jamaican Henry Hewitt set up the private school in State Bay, charging 9 pence per week. As education pursuits grew, it would be the Baptist Church which would lead the charge given the growth of their congregations in the sister islands. Between 1896 and 1906, a large schoolhouse would be built in the chapel at the creek, along with State Bay and Little Cayman.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
Rotary Central Music Extravaganza tickets are moving like a hold glass of swanky on a hot Cayman-Brac day. Get your tickets now from Rotary Central members, Rotary ticket sellers, eventpro.ky, Funky Tanks, A.L. Thompson's Home Depot, Mango Tree Restaurant, Seabird's Bar, Eastern Avenue, Tashara Lewis in Cayman-Brac. Get your golden tickets. Get ready to be a winner. Stand your chance to win $40,000. Second prize $4,000. 6 $1,000 prizes and more. The Music Extravaganza 2020. Building bus shelters throughout the Cayman Islands, supporting over 70 Rotary community projects. Rotary Central, not-for-profit number 232. Rotary opens opportunity.
Green Turtle. Modern solutions to get you through the new normal. Download the Green Turtle app now and top up yours or a loved one's phone with any mobile carrier in any destination. Home delivery of laptops, tablets, phones, accessories, and iTunes and major online retailer gift cards. And now, home deliveries of groceries and courier service. Guaranteed delivery within 2 hours from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Visit their list of products at greenturtle.ky or download the Green Turtle app today. Green Turtle is not only the future of mobile, but today it can help save a life. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app, the future of mobile, saving lives today.
It was a day that changed my life. No words can describe the feelings of seeing my baby boy sick for the first time. The overwhelming feeling of fear to be responsible for his health and happiness became my priority. So I did what any nurturing mother would do when their baby is sick. I took him to get some of the best medicine possible.
CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy understands the importance of careful decisions you make every day for your family. Our staff work towards healthcare excellence and providing the most current and up-to-date training with pharmaceutical care, so you can feel confident in knowing that your family is safe with the right medication. At CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, we take care of your health.
Stronger, wider, higher, lighter. The all-new Ford Ranger Raptor. Powerfully built with a 2.0 diesel Panther engine and 210 horsepower. Modern with leather interior, an 8-inch touchscreen, Sync 3 technology, and power features. Tough, built to handle the off-road with 4-wheel drive, terrain modes, and 10-speed automatic transmission. Coming early October to Vamped Motors, Walkers Road. To find out more and to test drive the bold new Ford Ranger Raptor, visit Vamped Motors, Walkers Road, or call 949-8288.
No, man. My bill seem huge again, and I don't know what to do about it. I gotta look some help.
We can help. The Ministry of Commerce, Planning and Infrastructure has teamed up with CUC to give you the chance to win a home energy makeover worth up to $20,000. Not only will this lower your utility bills, it will increase your home's value. We are also giving away 8 home energy audits worth up to $1,900 each. Open to all homeowners in Grand Cayman. Entry is now open via www.energy.gov.ky/competition. Proudly sponsored by CEL Cooling, Mitsubishi, Phone Pros, Cooling Pros, and more. Use less, save more. Enter today.
Hi, I'm remodeling our bathroom. I have a few questions.
Sure.
What are some ideas to make my bathroom feel larger? How do I know if I'm picking the right vanity? How do I choose a new toilet or a new countertop? Also, the lighting is terrible. Can I put a window or a skylight? And do I really need an exhaust fan?
You've come to the right place. At Brand Source, we custom design kitchen and baths, and our talented design team can help answer your questions. Whether you're looking for a modern, functional family bathroom or a luxurious personal retreat, we'll help create that beautiful space that makes your home yours. And if you're in a rush for a new look and have a limited budget, our ready-to-install bathroom vanities, built with solid wood and countertops of the finest materials, are a quick and easy remodeling solution.
For the very best in custom-designed kitchens and baths, visit Brand Source Home Gallery on Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, Cayman's Kitchen and Bath Center.
Fidelity Bank would like to thank all essential workers. We salute your efforts and thank you for the sacrifices you've made to keep us all safe. During these challenging times we're facing, our top priority is the health and safety of the communities we serve. And while it's true that things are changing rapidly every day, one thing that will never change is our commitment to giving you the best and sound financial solutions to help you during and after the coronavirus pandemic. At Fidelity Bank, our focus will always be you. Fidelity, we're good for you.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Ort Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. It is my pleasure to have in the studio with me this morning Dr. Steve Macfield. Doc, I don't know if you got an opportunity to listen to any of the debate in the Legislative Assembly yesterday. Of course, they resumed on Wednesday. And yesterday, I know you were busy in court a few days as well. But I was listening yesterday and followed the question time as well as the private member's motion. And Mr. MLA Kenneth Bryan's motion in relation to the Advisory District Council's law. He brought a motion forward which the government indicated that they were basically prepared, to accept in terms of ensuring that an appropriate bill is brought into effect. And the Premier indicated that he was inclined, he was prepared to accept it, but there was a proviso in the motion that says that action should be taken immediately, and with the removal of that immediate, the term or the phrase that the government could support it. Now, what happened was that the mover, MLA Mr. Kenneth Bryan, wasn't particularly happy with that, and he asked the Speaker if he could have a 5-minute adjournment so he could possibly discuss it with the Premier to see whether or not they could find some common ground on it. The Speaker eventually said that would depend on whether or not the Premier wanted to meet. There was some back and forth, and at the end of the day, it was around about 4 o'clock, they decided that they were going to break for 15 minutes. Now, after that, I stayed on. The radio came on, of course, was carrying it live. I kept my radio tuned into 105.3 up until 4:45, I believe it was, and they hadn't returned at that point in time. And I said, I don't know what's happening here. Nobody has come back on to say what is taking place. I just turned my TV on and started to watch things otherwise. But I was extremely curious to see what would have happened. What happened after that. I'm now trying to see what I can find on the Legislative Assembly's website. So if Mr. Bryan is listening in, or any member of the Legislative Assembly is listening in who can fill us in on what transpired since then, I'm sure I could find it on YouTube or someplace on the government website, but I didn't get an opportunity to do that because it would be extremely interesting. Now, what the Premier said in relation to the fact that there were so many other pieces of legislation, so many things to be done before the House was prorogued in March. There were many ways to rebut that argument. One rebuttal would be, well, this is important to the people of the Cayman Islands. Yes. Legislation, we have seen legislation come quickly to the Assembly for other issues, financial issues that have to do, with the lifeline of this country from a financial standpoint as well. But the whole issue of participatory democracy is also important. And when the Premier indicated that it couldn't be done during this administration, then it would have been a Pyrrhic victory for the mover of the motion if he had accepted it the way that it was, because one government can't bind another government that may come along in 2021. We have just about a minute and a half, but when we come back, we'll talk more about it. But go ahead, your take.
I didn't listen to the radio yesterday, I tend not to listen to the radio mostly, especially with the LA debates, because it's the usual same old rhetoric. It's the same thing. But one thing I would like to say, I was sort of happy to see that when I heard about the motion being brought, I was happy to see that at least there was some unity among the so-called opposition, because the opposition only got their name because of the nomenclature in the Constitution, but they're not really an opposition. They're independents. They're a group of independents, and you cannot. The word independence and opposition
diametrically opposed.
Diametrically opposed. So I was happy that at least they're showing some sort of political stamina and coming forward and getting these things done. Now, the problem that I have with all of the rhetoric over the district council's law is a law is in place. A law has been in place now for nearly 10 years. And the problem with it is that the system of district councils is mandatory in the Constitution. It is one of the only places in the Constitution where the average person in the streets, the average voter, the average Caymanian has a right to have a say in how he thinks, what he thinks affects him. And I'm appalled that they can put everything else in the Constitution in the national security, the Attorney General, the Solicitor General, the DPP, all of those things they can put in the Constitutional Commission.
And have them effective.
Except the fact that they will not put in something that gives the people rights to advise the people who represents them.
Okay. Top of the hour, 8 o'clock news, folks. Please stay tuned. For the record, with Dr. Steve Macfield. We'll be back immediately after the 8 o'clock news.
Radio Cayman Time Check is now 8 a.m. This time check is brought to you by our friends at Foster's.
At Foster's Pharmacy, our goal is to provide a professional yet personalized service that's both value-led and convenient for you. We're located at Foster's Camana Bay and airport locations, so you can drop off and collect your prescriptions, vitamins, and supplements whilst you shop. In a hurry, WhatsApp your prescription and we'll prepare it, ready for your arrival. Our experienced team of pharmacists can also assist you with blood glucose testing, medication disposal, and Sister Island deliveries. For more, visit fosters.ky/pharmacy. Foster's Pharmacy. Better health because we care.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
The 8 a.m. news is proudly sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. For further information, please visit chamberpension.ky. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you. Did you know that between May and August 31st, in support of the COVID-19 Emergency Withdrawal Program, the Chamber Pension Plan leveraged IT and human resources to successfully review over 16,000 member applications, approve over 12,000 applications, and paid over CI $130 million to our plan members. We are the Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan, and we're here for you. For further information regarding the Emergency Withdrawal Program, visit chamberpension.ky. And for information as it happens, follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Email admin@pensions.ky or call 745-7630.
Your voice, your choice for today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Karsley Fuller. Premier the Honourable Alda McLaughlin says the financial services industry and its support ecosystem has carried on through the recent turmoil caused by COVID-19. While pleased with the removal of Cayman from the list of non-cooperative jurisdictions for tax purposes, he also said more work lies ahead.
This was a significant achievement, with all hands working over many months despite the pandemic. This work was greatly aided through our program of engagement, but the job does not end here. As we know, there will be other initiatives aimed at us, and we will be ready.
Mr. McLaughlin says the government will continue its efforts engaging with the European Union and building relationships in Brussels, as well as continuing to strengthen its own partnership with financial services industry.
Government and industry have separate but complementary roles to play in keeping the sector strong. However, we must and will move forward in lockstep to secure the future of the financial services industry.
The Premier made the remarks during his State of the Nation address in Legislative Assembly on Wednesday. And the 4th Annual Civil Service Engagement Survey gets underway next week. The 4th annual exercise, running from October 19th through November 6th, aims to gather the views of every employee on a range of aspects that impact them as a civil servant. The confidential survey lets employees give their feedback anonymously by pooling it with the responses of all other participants in the department and across the civil service. The combined information gives leaders insight into what civil servants are happy with and what they believe still needs improvement. Answers will also indicate the level of engagement among staff, i.e. the level of positive emotional connection that a staffer feels towards the organization, what motivates them to give their best to help it achieve its goals. This year, there will be a few additional questions regarding COVID-19 and performance motivation. All civil servants who join the organization up to September 30th can participate. If you have a work email address and you are a civil servant, you can expect to receive the email with a secure link to the survey questionnaire on Monday. Those not on the email will receive a paper copy of the questionnaire from their human resources representative or their manager, along with a return postpaid envelope. Both paper survey and online respondents will have 3 full weeks to complete the questionnaire. Now with the check of international news, here's the BBC, which will take us out of the newscast. I'm Carsley Fuller from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
BBC News with Jerry Smith. The British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has accused the European Union of abandoning the prospect of a post-Brexit free trade deal. He said that unless there was a fundamental change of approach from Brussels, Britain was prepared to exit the transition period without a deal. The head of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, has said EU negotiators still plan to hold talks in London next week. China has dismissed as a farce a report that it's separating Muslim Uyghur children from their parents in the far western region of Xinjiang. The Economist magazine says hundreds of thousands of children have been placed in state boarding facilities because their parents were in detention camps. Armenia says Azerbaijan has launched a large-scale military offensive in the disputed region of Nagorno-Karabakh. Both countries say they inflicted heavy losses on their opponents. The Nigerian government has said that judicial panels of inquiry will be set up by all of the country's 36 states to investigate allegations of police brutality. The pledge came after weeks of protests following several deaths caused by the feared Special Anti-Robbery Squad, which the government says has now been disbanded. Thousands of people in the Thai capital Bangkok have been facing off police with batons, riot shields and water cannon in defiance of an emergency decree banning gatherings of more than 5 people. The demonstrators, chanting "Down with dictatorship," are demanding that power be redistributed, taken away from the pro-military government and the monarchy. The government in Guinea has said that men wearing army uniforms have killed the commander of a military base 2 days before a bitterly disputed presidential election. The defence minister said the attack took place overnight in the city of Kindia. Reports in local media speak of an army mutiny. BBC News.
The 8 a.m. news is proudly sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. For further information, please visit chamberpension.ky. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you. We are a not-for-profit, member-centric plan with a democratically elected volunteer board of trustees representing all sectors of the Cayman Islands economy. We have an all-in expense ratio of less than 1%, over 20,000 members, and $490 million in assets under management. We were the first multi-employer pension plan approved by the regulator in the late 1990s, and today we are still strong, secure, and are here for our employees and employers alike. If you would like to join or require further information, visit chamberpension.ky. And for information as it happens, follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Email admin@pensions.ky or call 745-7630. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
Water Authority Cayman wishes to advise its valued customers and the motoring public of planned works to upgrade the water supply infrastructure along North Sound Road between the junction of Portland Road and Shedden Road. Work will begin on Sunday 20th September and will last for approximately 6 weeks. During the course of the works, portions of the road will be closed and traffic will be diverted. Signs will be in place directing the flow of traffic. Motorists are encouraged to drive with caution when they are in the area to protect their safety and the safety of the authority's staff. The Water Authority appreciates the patience and understanding of its customers and the public as it undertakes these works and apologizes for any inconvenience this may cause.
Registration is ongoing for the Department of Tourism Pride webinars. The tourism industry is ever evolving. Stay up to date with the industry standards, best practices, and ensure you are the best ambassador for Cayman. The Pride webinars offer customer service, business acumen, history, and cultural classes. Webinars will run on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 11 a.m. To see the full schedule and register, visit pride.ourcayman.ky.
Good morning, Cayman. Let's take a quick look at your latest weather. Present temperature 82 degrees, but it feels like 95. Winds are still calm. Relative humidity 88%. Last night's low was at 79, and a barometric pressure at 29.91 inches and holding. Isolated showers with light winds and seas are expected to continue across the Cayman area for the next 24 hours due to a weak pressure gradient across the Northwest Caribbean. Forecast for today, partly cloudy skies with a 30% chance of afternoon showers and thunder. Temperatures will rise to the low 90s with a heat index of 103. Winds will be northeast 5 to 10 knots. Seas will be slight with wave heights of 1 to 3 feet. Later on this evening, partly cloudy skies, 30% chance of showers. Temperatures will fall to the mid-70s. Winds will be north to northeast 5 to 10 knots, and seas will be slight with wave heights of 1 to 3 feet. Looking at tomorrow, partly cloudy skies, 30% chance of afternoon showers and possible thunder. Temperatures will rise to the low 90s, similar. Winds will be northeast 10 to 15 knots. Seas will be slight to moderate with wave heights of 2 to 4 feet. High tide is coming up in the next hour at 9:07. It's going to be low at 3:10 this afternoon and high at 7:48 tonight. For tomorrow, low tide is at 3:19 a.m. High at 9:54 a.m., low at 3:54 p.m., and high at 9:29 p.m. Sunset this evening at 6 p.m., sunrise for Saturday morning at 6:21. The outlook is for similar weather through Sunday morning. That's your latest weather right here on Radio Cayman.
During these unprecedented times, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Cayman Strong Series. The Cayman Strong Series is brought to you by Encourse Cayman. Visit encourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. Encourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
Change your thinking. Change your life. Practicing forgiveness is a healthy habit.
As pastor and best-selling author Gary Chapman wrote in his book, The 5 Love Languages, How to Express Heartfelt Commitment to Your Mate, forgiveness is not a feeling, it is a commitment. It is a choice to show mercy, not to hold the offense up against the offender. Forgiveness is an expression of love.
Change your thinking. Change your life. These days, feelings of loneliness, anxiety, stress, and depression can be overwhelming. Just know you are not alone. Encourse Cayman offers private mental health services for children, teens, adults, and groups. Visit encourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. Encourse Cayman. Health, wellness, and happiness.
Radio Cayman's Cayman Strong Series was brought to you by Encourse Cayman. Visit encourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. Encourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
All right, good morning, Cayman. Movements of traffic coming out of the east-west area, or east-west arterial or Brighton Boulevard. Good flow of traffic there, getting closer just outside the Kingsport Center as you move your way along the Linford-Pearson Highway. Good flow of traffic there as well. Of course, turning on to Agnes Way or continuing on to Bobby Thompson Way, experience a little bit of traffic there as they get to the junction. Continuing on, you'll meet moderate traffic flow. Looking at the Butterfield roundabouts, got a bit of traffic there in the northbound lane, heading on to the escalator bits onto Godfrey Nixon Way. But once you get past the roundabout, you got a good flow of traffic. Most streets in Georgetown are very much busy, but traffic is moving good. Going through South Sound, Long Walkers Road, yeah, good flow of traffic there as well. Not too bad this morning as the kids are on break for school. Of course, your traffic report brought to you by our friends at Subway.
It's the return of the sub of the day. Come into any Subway location and order the 6-inch sub of the day for only $3.50, or get the full meal for just $6.
Wow, a meal in Cayman for only $6?
Yes, and it's never been easier to get your favorites from Subway. Just stop in, message WhatsApp at 929-4658, order online, or use Let's Eat or the Bento app. Check out their Facebook or Instagram for the latest store hours. Subway, eat fresh.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Maintaining a strong mind and body through sports and general healthy living is a good course of action. But what about your spiritual man, your inner man? He has to be awakened, fed, exercised, strengthened, and led according to the will of God. So, have you heard the call? I'm Evangelist Brother Joseph Joey Ebanks, and I'm inviting you to worship Wednesday and Thursday nights at 7:30. We are bringing the Word of God to our communities as Jesus commanded. Faith comes by hearing, so come and hear. Bring your own chair or simply park and listen to the Word of God from your vehicle, covering the Cayman Islands with the Word of God, one community at a time.
Have you heard the call?
Will Be by Elderberry Drive in Newlands, Savannah by Chastine Rankin, October 14th and 15th.
The honeymoon over. A CNCF production heard on Radio Cayman Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. and repeated on Saturdays at 6:45 p.m. It's proudly sponsored by Radio Cayman, Ministry of Culture, CUC, Grape Tree Cafe, Cayman Medical Supplies, and Puritan Cleaners. Make sure and tune in. You hear?
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record with Orit Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. It is my pleasure to have in the studio with me this morning Dr. Steve Macfield. Doc, during the break for the news, we had an opportunity to speak to the leader of the opposition, Honorable Arden McLean, and he was able to fill us in on the decision that was taken in relation to Mr. Kenneth Bryan's motion, and it appears as if they have decided that they will establish a committee of the whole House to look at the Advisory District Council's bill.
Law.
And law, right?
Not
because
bill.
It has been
since
brought into
2010.
force, yes. The law, and to determine what changes need to be made to it to make it, functional, as far as the as far as what the Constitution says. But we do have a caller on hold, so let's grab the caller first. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning. Good morning, OC.
Good morning.
This is Georgia Lee Banks.
Good morning, Ms. Georgette. How are you?
Good morning, Miss Georgette.
And that's Dr. Steve there with you?
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
Well, a pleasant good morning to you, and I hope that both of you gentlemen can say that you yourselves are well and that your family members don't have that virus.
Yes, as far as I know.
Thank you very much, and we hope and we trust that you're doing fine, Miss Georgette.
No, I'm doing quite well, thank you,
Great.
for a
Good.
for a 93-year-old woman.
Yes.
But
Amazing for 93.
But what is this? Isn't it in our Constitution or in the law that we are supposed to have district meetings?
Ms. Georgette, just let me, for your information, just let me read what the Constitution says so that there's no ambiguity in what I'm trying to say to you.
Because I read it a long time ago, and nowadays I can't read because I'm almost blind.
Okay.
But I listen carefully.
The provision for district councils are embedded into Section 119 of the Constitution 2009. And it says, subject to this Constitution, a law enacted by the legislature shall provide for the establishment, functions, and jurisdictions of councils for each electoral district.
And just excuse me, it has the word shall.
That's right, ma'am. That's right, ma'am. It's mandatory.
Yes.
Okay. For each electoral district to operate as advisory bodies to the elected members of the Legislative Assembly. Now that is mandatory, and it has been mandatory since 2009 when the Constitution order was made by the Privy Council and the Queen gave her assent to it. Now, every other functions in the Constitution has been enacted by law. For instance, the Complaints Commissioners, which follows that and is embedded in Section 120, says, subject to this Constitution, a law enacted by the legislature may make provisions for the office of functions and jurisdiction of a Complaints Commissioner, otherwise called an ombudsman. Section 120 doesn't make it mandatory that you should have an ombudsman. It's discretionary. But Section 119 makes it mandatory. And because of that, the law was enacted, I think, around 2010. Now, it says, the Constitution says for each electoral districts. It doesn't say for each geographical districts. It doesn't say for West Bay, for Bordentown, for East End, for Northside, for Kimon-Brack. It says for each electoral district. We have 19 electoral districts now. And that is the law 2010, the law that was enacted in 2010 for these district councils has that in it also. It says in case there is single member constituencies that the law would apply to them. Now, I just would like to contrast that, Miss Georgette, with the Domestic Partnership Bill 2020. That law was enacted in a matter of weeks and gazetted.
Yes.
And it gives same-sex people the rights to have their partnership recognized by law. But the rights of the Caymanian people to advise their elected members of the Legislative Assembly has been lagging around since nearly 10 years now. And I say that this legislative, these constitutional rights that are enshrined in Section 119 since 2009 and are one of the worst attacked on this constitutional monarch democracy. Why is it that everybody else can have their rights except the Caymanian people, when it's not what we're begging for, it's not what we're asking for, it's what the Constitution says, the highest law in the land says, that we shall have it.
Guaranteed.
Not the word may.
Not may. And yet the electorate go to the polls since 2009, and people are not. It seems to me that people are more interested in the rights of other peoples than their own rights, and that is why I feel so passionate about it, because I was one of the people who helped enact the law. Sure. Because I knew about my rights and other people's rights through the historical times that who has been trampled upon and had no rights, and that is why it was, and that is what it was very important to me.
I remember them too, Dr. Sleeve.
So
I know that I applaud the young member for the young MLA for bringing this matter. But what he should have done, he should have forced a vote on it on the floor yesterday. Because an election is coming soon, and he should have forced the government's hand to say whether they are for it or not for it, instead of sending it to some committee where things get buried forever. Because that's what committees do.
Amen.
It never comes out of committee. And when it comes out of committee, it's so different from when it went in that it has no teeth. It's like taking all your teeth out and expecting to chew
a nice big piece of cassava.
Exactly. Yeah, or conch. You see? And so here we are in this country where we have constitutional rights, and they've been attacked, and they have been abused and refused, and now sent to committee to be purged. I feel so helplessly in this country where every time I come on the radio from years and years now, and I don't see any difference happening. No different for the people. I see the people going backward and backward and backward. And you know, Mr. Georgette, what I feel? They're going backward into chattel slavery. And that bothers me. And that is why I try to keep my children and my grandchildren away from here. Because I know that if they come here, they're not going to be subject to the rights that they have in other countries where they are actually strangers.
It is sad. It is very, very sad. And
the same thing you do, Miss Georgette, they're moving to erase these rights, the rights to under our prescription law that we have enjoyed since 1882. They have tried to erase the rights of swimming, bathing, picnicking, fishing, camping, etc. They're trying to erase those rights now too, also, that we have enjoyed. So where is this going to end, Miss Georgette? Where is this going to end?
Well,
I don't know what you feel about your children and your grandchildren, but it seems to me it's not going to end well.
Well, thank God, my youngest granddaughter and her husband and their daughter, who made me she's my great-granddaughter, they live in England. And England has its problems, as you well know, Dr. Steve
Yes.
and Mr. O.C.
Yes, ma'am.
But nothing to be compared to the problems we have here. And unfortunately, my one and only grandson is here on the island, and my oldest granddaughter is also here. But is it anything else they want to take away from us? And whose fault is it? It's our
fault.
Our fault, Miss Georgia.
Yes,
our fault.
We sit
Our
down
fault.
and let them push everything they want down our throats and say, "Oh, give me another glass of water so it can go down."
But what?
So
what?
It's not fun. I mean, I don't mean to be funny by saying it in that way, but I know other people want to get on, so I'm going to try to make it short. If God is kind enough to let me see the next election day, I sure will know where to put my mark. Because the majority of people in the LA, I'm not saying all, they never know you until it's just a few weeks or months before it's election time. And that isn't right. They never ever call to say, well, this, that, or the other, how are you doing? Are you getting enough to eat? Is there something wrong with your house? We could get somebody to come in. Thank God I have 3 wonderful daughters, a wonderful son-in-law, who is the husband of my youngest daughter. And I don't need for any of them to come to bring me either food or come to do any work around my house. I thank God for that. But there are people on this island who are suffering I don't mean just they want things and that are almost impossible. No, they need food, and so many people have lost their houses, and more are going to lose them too, because we don't have enough people interested in us to take care of us. So I can only say, thank you, God, you're still in heaven. You're no respecter of persons, no matter what your color or race is or what position you hold, if you're a millionaire or if you're a pauper. You love us all. And one thing all of you need to remember, you in the studio and all those on this island, and Cayman back and little Cayman too, our bodies do not belong to us. They are temples of the living God. So we need to feed them and with the right food and drink the right drink so that we will stay healthy and be able to serve him in the way we need to serve him. I know I've run up my mouth for a long time, but much more I could say, but I'll leave it to someone else. God bless you all. You, Dr. Steve, you, Mr. O.C., and every person on our 3 islands.
Thank you.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you very much, Miss Georgette, for that.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. We're going to take a commercial break. We do have another caller on hold. Caller, we will take your call as soon as we return, so please stay tuned.
I grew up in a Canadian village with a general store that had just about anything you could ever need. That's what I'm reminded of every time I go into West Bay Pharmacy. It's not just because it's well stocked with necessities and oddities, but also because it's like our community hub. The staff treat customers like friends. Ron and the team of pharmacists have kept my family patched up and flu-free for years, and there are usually a few good laughs mixed in. They are truly taking care of my health and my family's health. West Bay Pharmacy is the very best of Cayman kind.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, Cayman.
Did you know the third most important factor for customer retention is cleanliness? With 95% of shoppers saying exterior appliance influences where they decide to shop. Keep your business clean with Roper's Janitorial. From offices to restaurants, interior and exterior, walls to rugs and flooring. Roper's cleans it all, including 24-hour emergency service. Roper's Janitorial, 949-2511, or email janitorial@ropers.ky. Dress your business for success with Roper's Janitorial. We make your business shine. 949-2511, Roper's, providing products and services for better public health.
Fidelity Bank would like to thank all essential workers. We salute your efforts and thank you for the sacrifices you've made to keep us all safe. During these challenging times we're facing, our top priority is the health and safety of the communities we serve. And while it's true that things are changing rapidly every day, one thing that will never change is our commitment to giving you the best in sound financial solutions to help you during and after the coronavirus pandemic. At Fidelity Bank, our focus will always be you. Fidelity, we're good for you.
JN Money Card. When my land up a JN, me get the money card with them. Just show them your ID and give them your TRN. Go and use at the ATM or swipe instead then. And when you need more cash, and make your family send it in a flash. From abroad to card, get the JN Money Card. It's safe, convenient, and free. JN Money Card only available and used in Jamaica. Call 345-945-2014 for details.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the record.
This is For the Record with Ort Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. My pleasure to have in the studio with me this morning Dr. Steve Macfield, one caller on hold. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. Moderator, and good morning to the doc. Doc.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing fine. I hear the pain and passion in your voice, and I just want to weigh in with a couple points. We were told long ago that it would come to this because we were selling our birthright for a mess of pottage. And I said in 1978 that if we developed along the lines where we separated the land from the people or the people from the land, woe would come to us. Now it is increasingly obvious what is happening here. There is a chasm, there is a gap between those who have and those who have not. And the hopelessness is setting in. So as a historian, here's what I want to say. There is no society so dangerous as a society in which a majority of the people believe they have nothing at stake in that society. And I'm afraid we are heading for disaster if we don't right the ship while there is yet still time, and time is fleeting. I mean, I hear the complaints on your show, Mr. Moderator. I go on the news media, and I see the instances of blatant corruption, of disregard. And now we have reached a point where our prescriptive rights are being changed, and we're being denied access ways, we're being denied rights of way, we're being denied the ability to exercise our democratic rights. Good cannot come to the Caymanian society. And I'm afraid, as a historian, here is what I say. In societies where this happens, change comes. It comes through violence. And if we're not careful, the same thing is going to happen here. No one will be safe. Neither the rich in their palaces nor the poor on the street. No one will be safe if we don't turn things around.
But Mr. Barton, that is the reason why when I get on the radio and I am not so upset about the militia, because I've said look at the history of militia and the reason for them.
The regiment.
We understand that.
Look at them. There's a reason for them.
Exactly.
There's a reason for things like that. It's to protect a particular segment of the society. It has always been that way. That's how they started. They started in the colonies and the colonies in America. They started in Virginia. They started all over. They started in Jamaica, all over. And so it doesn't surprise me that you now have a militia, because what's happening when you start stripping away the rights of the people, and you finally have colonial apartheid, then you are in a slippery road, and then you have to have protection to protect those rights that you have taken away from the people that you have given to yourself, that you have cloned for yourself, and that you have eroded, and that you have taken away historically. You need that kind of a treatment for yourself. You need that kind of protection for yourself. So it's no problem. It's no problem with me. I understand why you need them. But Mr. Borden, I agree with you. We are going down a very slippery road, and we need to turn back from that, following that road that we're going, because if we don't, there are going to be unrest here. There are going to be progressive unrest here, and it's not going to be nice, because the politicians are not listening to the voices of the people. The voices of the people are not reaching the ears of the politicians. And the politicians, some of them, really don't care, because really, to some of them, it's only a job to have a salary in their pockets. They don't really care. Like, for instance, this bill. This bill that went before the House, and by the way, I thought it was 2010. It's now, I understand from Mr. Moderator, for the record, it's February 2011 that the law came into effect. This the District Council's law. Yes, came into effect. This bill now is going to committee stage. You know what the committee does. You've been there.
Right.
You've been a minister. You know what it does? It rips apart and it takes away, and it takes the whole bubbles out of the law.
We had a saying, Doc, when I was there. If you wanted to kill something,
yes,
send it to committee.
Send it to committee. So what I would have done yesterday evening, last night or whatever, I would have forced the vote on it and let them vote yes or no. And then we will see. And I would have something to fight on my platform for 2021. But of course, you have a bunch of independents. I don't know how unified they are. And of course, that flies in the whole face of the Westminster system of democracy. And so what can you expect? We're right back to where we started with nothing. And when you contrast that, as I have said before, with the domestic partnership bill, in weeks that was a law that was brought in and made into law.
That's right.
But if those people can have their rights, what happened to the Caymanian people's rights in the districts?
I want to make two quick points, and then I shall leave you, gentlemen.
Go right ahead, sir. Go right ahead.
The first point is, whose agenda are our representatives serving? Are they serving the agenda of the people of the Cayman Islands who elected them? Or is it some other agenda of self-interested groups, the elite, and the rich and powerful? That's number one question. The second point is a stark warning. The monopoly that the state has on any coercive force have never stopped progressive movements. It didn't stop it in 1865 in the Morant Bay Rebellion.
That's right.
It never stopped it in other such incidences, and it won't stop it when history is right for the Cayman Islands people to rise up and reclaim their rights. That coming from a historian, a warning. A warning. Thank you, gentlemen. Have a good day. I shall continue to listen.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Borden, as well. So, Doc, for the benefit of our listening and viewing audience, we want to establish some facts. The Advisory District Council's Law 2011, Law 1 of 2011, Supplement Number 1, published with Gazette Number 4, dated the 14th of February 2011. But then there's something on here that says not in force. And it says publishing details not in force. So I'm curious about that. How to look into that, because this first part of the bill talks about when it was published by Gazette.
That's right.
And then there's a column here that says publishing details not in force. We'll try to determine what that is. But be that as it may, whether or not it is in force, or not, certainly what is not happening is that nothing is being applied as far as the Advisory District Council. Now, Doc, at 92 years of age. No, you were 80.
85.
85. I'm pushing you up to 90.
Miss Georgia.
And Miss Tit is 92.
Miss Tit is 92.
So 84 years old, you have really have some good memory, unbelievable memory. Because you kept saying to me there is something in the legislation that makes provisions that if constituencies are established, that the law makes provisions, or the bill makes provisions for it. And you are absolutely correct. When we look at Section 4 of the law, bill, whichever one it is, composition of the councils, Section 4, subsection 6, subsection 5. And here's what it reads. It says, if single-member constituencies were to be introduced or new electoral districts added, Section 4 shall apply to them in the same way as it applies to constituencies existing at the commencement of this law.
Yes.
So
yes.
if you had 7, electoral districts, 8, 9, 10, whatever it is that you had at the time that this law came into effect, and single-member constituencies were established after that, it would have the same effect. And that Section 4 relates to the composition of the council. So you're absolutely right in that it made provisions for those. So for those who make excuses,
yes,
use the excuse that we now have constituencies as opposed to districts, that's where it does not. And many of those things could be addressed in the regulations.
Exactly.
They could be addressed in the regulations as well.
Yes, and another thing about it is that one of the things that they said at the time, several years ago, the reasons why they were not enforcing it because it should have been elective. Mm-hmm. Well, those same people who said that the district council should have been elected, they were at the constitutional talks in the United Kingdom when the district councils was put in Section 119. Mm-hmm. And it says advisory.
Yes, advisory.
It did not say elective. And if the British government had wanted another tier of local elections through district council, they would have put it in the Constitution.
And believe you me, during those discussions, it was that was talked about as well, and the comparison was made as to the councils that they have in the UK and what was trying to be established here. Have to take a commercial break. 3 callers queued up as well. As soon as we return, we're going to address those callers, so please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
Fidelity Bank would like to thank all essential workers. We salute your efforts and thank you for the sacrifices you've made to keep us all safe. During these challenging times we're facing, our top priority is the health and safety of the communities we serve. And while it's true that things are changing rapidly every day, one thing that will never change is our commitment to giving you the best and sound financial solutions to help you during and after the coronavirus pandemic. At Fidelity Bank, our focus will always be you. Fidelity, we're good for you.
It was a day that changed my life. No words can describe the feelings of seeing my baby boy sick for the first time. The overwhelming feeling of fear to be responsible for his health and happiness became my priority. So I did what any nurturing mother would do when their baby is sick. I took him to get some of the best medicine possible.
CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy understands the importance of careful decisions you make every day for your family. Our staff work towards healthcare excellence and providing the most current and up-to-date training with pharmaceutical care, so you can feel confident in knowing that your family is safe with the right medication. At CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, we take care of your health.
Maintaining a strong mind and body through sports and general healthy living is a good course of action. But what about your spiritual man, your inner man? He has to be awakened, fed, exercised, strengthened, and led according to the will of God. So, have you heard the call? I'm Evangelist Brother Joseph Joey Ebanks, and I'm inviting you to worship Wednesday and Thursday nights at 7:30. We are bringing the Word of God to our communities as Jesus commanded. Faith comes by hearing. So come and hear. Bring your own chair or simply park and listen to the Word of God from your vehicle, covering the Cayman Islands with the Word of God, one community at a time.
Have you heard the call? We'll be in central Bodentown by the post office October the 21st and 22nd.
Honey, our fridge has stopped working again. Everything in the freezer is melting. We need to get this repaired right away. I'm calling Brand Source Service.
When you need the very best appliance service, Call Brand Source Service at 623-5000. Offering service and installation of all brands and models of appliances. Brand Source Service is Cayman's source for appliance parts and repairs with qualified and experienced technicians and the island's largest stock of appliance parts. Brand Source Service will have your repair completed in a flash. So, whatever the problem is, call the experts at 623-5000. Brand Source Service, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park. Telephone 623-5000.
Stronger, wider, higher, lighter. The all-new Ford Ranger Raptor.
Powerfully built with a 2.0 diesel Panther engine and 210 horsepower. Modern with leather interior and 8-inch touchscreen, Sync 3 technology and power features. Tough, built to handle the off-road with 4-wheel drive, terrain modes, and a 10-speed automatic transmission. Coming early October to Vamped Motors, Walkers Road. To find out more and to test drive the bold new Ford Ranger Raptor, visit Vamped Motors, Walkers Road, or call 949-8288.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. 3 callers queued up. Let's go to the phone lines. First caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Hello.
Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Morning. How are you, sir?
Oh, I'm fine, sir. Nice to hear your voice there. And Dr. McPhail.
Good morning, sir.
This morning, I feel like I'm at Cape Canaveral waiting for a rocket to fire off. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 1.
No blast off.
That's what happened in the Legislative Assembly last night.
Yes.
That's what happened in the Legislative Assembly last night. As Mr. Roy and you rightly said, there is no commitment as to when this committee has to report back. Not according to what I heard. That's what we call next never. That's when it's going to report back. We know that their intention is not to make it work. Now, Dr. McPhail, you and I had debate over the District Council's law. There were things in it that I thought definitely need changing and shouldn't have been the way it was. But that was the way that administration back then was working.
Yes.
But, however, the law passed. And the rule of law, not governor, that we have, Governor Roper, you know, he sees these things in these laws, but it's only selective laws that they say must come into effect. They select what, right? Which is that's a British way from morning. They don't believe in rule of law.
The rule of some laws.
Examples I can give you how they violate rule of law. It's not funny. Now, the trick has been played on our legislators. Again, the same nonsense that's gone on with our Constitution. 3 amendments to the Constitution with no public consultation, really. No discussions district to district, nothing. No referendum on it. And every one of them is not to the benefit of the people of the Cayman Islands. Consolidates power. The announcement and the pronouncement of the new premier, if they are elected, and if they get back into power, and I hope that there's some big changes, you know, violates not the intent of even that particular party's constitution, of which I'm a member. That's why I use the word betrayed, and I will continue to use betrayed. This is not the type of government that we work for to establish. This has become the type of government that we ran away from and wanted to move the Cayman Islands away from. But I appreciate you, Dr. McPhail, and I appreciate you, Mr. O'Sea, for coming out, for having these discussions. Now, we have coming up the discussions on the prescription law and the registered land law.
Mm-hmm.
In spite of what the government is saying, their intent of the law, what they say is one thing, and what the word says is different. They want to give rights where rights do not exist. Rights only exist of an owner during the 20-year period of use before the prescriptive right is established. They only want to register some of the rights. They don't want to register all of the rights in Section 2 to 4 of the prescription law. And I know my time will be limited.
Yeah, because we have two other callers waiting behind, queued up behind you.
I won't get into the details, but shortly we're going to be releasing the comments from the Concerned Citizens Group. They've already been given to government. We've had a meeting with government. Supposed to have another one beginning of this week. That didn't occur. It's been put off. We showed. Been told now it'll happen on Monday. But we're going to be releasing our comments. It's a work in progress as we get feedback to the people, the small group it's been distributed to. Things have added to it because people see things from their own experiences and understand how government has deceived and sold out the Cayman Islands. And so, but this is the amendments to date that we see, and also sections of the laws that they're not taking care of to leave there as a way for the Department of Legal Services to come out to again work against the people of the Cayman Islands, as they have, and fight in the registration of prescriptive rights to protect the rights of Caymanians, and not doing it for the benefit of new owners who weren't around when the dedications were made, the reasons why they were made. They weren't around when the people acquired prescriptive rights. Dr. McPhail, explain to the people again, what does indefeasible mean?
It cannot be ever taken away.
I'll hang up, I know, but not now. But so you can cut me off.
Yeah.
So I will stop at that for right now.
Okay, thank you.
Caymanian people, my computer gives trouble sometimes. And when I call the technician, you know what he tells me? Reset. Reset your computer.
Yeah.
We are coming to the point in the Cayman Islands where we have to shut down and reset. I never thought I'd say that.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'm going to repeat. We are coming to the reset time. The business community, the political groupings have forgotten the people, the Caymanian people. And the reset button is in my eyesight. That's why they're bringing that army here, the Royal Cayman Islands Army.
Caller, thank you very much, caller.
God bless.
Okay.
I go on. Bye-bye.
Let's grab the next caller before we go to our headline news. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. This is Arman. Good morning to my good friend, Dr. McPhail as well.
Good morning, Mr. Arman. How are you?
I am so blessed. And I am going to need your number offline or online, whatever you feel like doing.
326-2828. 326-28. 326-2828.
Good. 2828. Okay. Yeah, just a little bit more. I want to say it's never forgotten and could never be the guidance that you were giving us when we had the West Bay Action Committee. You attended those meetings 2 or 3 times. And if I remember rightly, we had crossed the halfway mark of forming the district council. I am overappreciated what you really done until some politicians, remember they setting some people there that just, for the want of a better word, sabotage because we were a political threat to some of those politicians. Remember, I repeated before, Mr. Connor, what happened into Goatyard with that foreign man taking away those people's land? And we had to go in, get a surveyor to sort it out after the people property was demolished. I mean, it is so humiliating what's happening here. A district council, in my opinion, and I will have, in chambers, shall I say, with Dr. McPhail, these politicians need to keep out of this thing. This need to be formed by the people, for the people, that we have some say into our island, in our district as well. Because as long as it is and remains as it is now, we will not have any say. So they need to keep their hands off. Once we are in the ambits of the law, we should be able to go and form it. Nothing that is not unlawful. Why not? The people. That when we come up against these hard bully politicians that think that their way or the highway, this is what's happening. But Dr. McPhail, I'm going to call you a bit later. So
thank you, Mr. Morgan. I will await your call.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay. Thank you very much, caller, as well. Paul, you want us to come to you now, or we still have another minute? Okay, we have a minute. What can we do in a minute? Okay, here's what I can do this. This came in real early this morning, 7:45 actually. This person says, good morning. I would like to comment and ask, there are quite a few convertible bicycles motorized that use the 7 Mile road daily. Is this legal? I may say this is dangerous. At night times, many times there are no lights, and the person say that this is just an observation on their part. Those, I think there some are called e-bikes, motor-assisted bikes, where you have to pedal, but it will assist you up to a particular speed. Some of them, I think in the U.S., in most states in the U.S., restricted to about 20 miles an hour. But you do have some that are much faster, that can go much faster as well. They're not required to be licensed in the Cayman Islands. But just like bicycles and everyone else, you're required to have lights, reflectors and everything at nights as well. So those things can still be enforced. That's what I would say to the rider in that case. They are legal, but they also have to observe the rules of the road, and they should have lights as well. Headline news, 9 o'clock. Please stay tuned. For the record, with Dr. Steve McPhail. We'll be back shortly.
Continuing the Caymanian tradition.
Let Cora keep my ground so clean.
The heart and soul of the Cayman people. Thank you for keeping the culture alive.
There's the news every day. From East End to Georgetown, down into West Bay.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
It's only 2 species that we have here on Island.
Generations present.
Your voice, your choice.
It is in the best interest of the people of these islands.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
Government reported 361 COVID-19 test results on Thursday. All came back negative. Around the world, Lancashire has agreed to a deal to move into Tier 3 of COVID restrictions, the top level in England from Saturday. The very high alert level measures include pub closures and bans on households mixing indoors, in private gardens, and in most outdoor facilities. Health Secretary Matt Hancock said the government has worked, quote, intensely with local leaders to agree to the move. It comes amid warnings that divisions between government and local leaders in England are, quote, very dangerous and harming the ability to control the disease. The Welsh government has confirmed it is looking to impose a 2 to 3 week circuit breaker lockdown. Elsewhere, a flight carrying about 300 passengers from New Zealand to Australia under a new so-called travel bubble has landed in Sydney. Countries and regions across Europe are introducing tougher restrictions as coronavirus cases surge. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
Your voice, your choice, your radio.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record, with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, Dr. Steve McPhail. If I was a little bit late getting back to the mic there, I was on the phone with MLA Mr. Kenneth Bryan, and he's going to give us a call on our toll-free number to talk about his private member's motion yesterday and the result of it. Is he through? Anyone on the line yet, Paul? So, Doc, in the meantime, until we get that call, okay, Mr. Bryan is on. Good morning, sir. Welcome to For the Record, Mr. Bryan.
Good morning, OC, and good morning to Dr. Steve Mac.
Good morning, Mr. Bryan.
Good morning. I was telling Dr. Macfield and my audience that I was listening yesterday to your private debate on your private members' motion, and it reached the point where in your response after members had debated it, that you asked for a recess around about 4 o'clock to get an opportunity to speak with the Premier to see whether or not you could find some common ground on the way forward as far as your motion was concerned. And they decided that, eventually decided it would take a break until 4:15. I continued to listen up until about 4:45 and didn't come back, but I made to understand that there were, several trances of negotiations going on with it. But I'll let you tell us, first of all, you may want to tell our listening and viewing audience what your private motion was all about, and then tell us where we're at today as far as it's concerned.
Well, I was left with the impression that you guys already knew, because I received some messages from some of my supporters that you guys already came to the conclusion or know what the end result was. But just to get it from the
we have a general idea, but not the little nitty-gritty details.
Okay. Well, basically the motion was calling for the government to implement the current law that was created by the good Dr. Steve Macfield in 2011 to immediately enact it. Because the Constitution, we have district councils within our Constitution. So it's a constitutional matter, and there is a law. So my position was quite simple. Over the last few months now, we've been hearing this talk about rule of law, rule of law, rule of law. But yet still we have the district councils that is a law and in our Constitution, and it's not being enacted. So my position was quite simple: bring the motion and allow them to decide whether they're going to support it or not. So I didn't do much debating at the start of it. My intention was to do the debate after they've said their piece.
Right.
Because there's not much to talk about. It's a simple yes or no. The government gave their indication. They said that they will not be supporting it in its current form. And so I said, well, can you give an idea if you think it needs changes? Can we not get it changed now before the end of this administration? They ultimately said that they would support my motion if I took out the word immediately, because to be enacted right away, which can be enacted right away. I don't think there's anything wrong with the law that it can't be enacted right away. The question is whether they like the law the way it is. So ultimately, that's the compromise where we decided to have the discussion. Now, the district council is very important to me in order to get something happening. So when the government gave the open door to say, listen, can we discuss possibly amending the bill, I asked the speaker, can we take a break? During that break, the Premier and I and some other members of opposition, some other members of government, I asked them, well, what would be satisfactory to you? Because I want this thing done before the end of the administration. And they said it's not a priority on top of the list right now. There's so many other bills that have to come. There's only 1 or 2 other sittings. And in order to get a drafting team to get it done, they don't see it being able to be done. So if they agree to the bill in its wording of saying immediately, they won't be able to commit to that. They too want it done, but they want some changes in the law. Now, you may have heard from other people before that some people find the bill to be a little bit unfair and could be used politically because of the appointment structure. The appointment structure is by the Premier, the Governor and Cabinet, basically the Premier, because the Premier is in charge of Cabinet. And they have the majority say of who's going to be on these councils in the various different electoral districts.
Okay.
Now, the Minister of Financial Services tried to indicate that it could not be working now in single member, because when it was done in multi-member, when the law was created in the time of multi-member, but I don't think she read the bill, because I think the good Dr. Steve Macfield actually put a provision in there in the event of it changing over. So that was not an excuse.
Mm-hmm.
The excuse is about the structure of the law and the appointment to the membership. So ultimately, I think it is a true assessment, because technically speaking, the Premier could say, all right, you want me to pass this law? I'll pass it, and I'm going to put 10 PPM persons on there, because the law only says a member of the opposition leader can appoint.
Mm-hmm,
Now, I am not a part of a party, so the law doesn't even speak to an independent person. So I would have to become a member of the party in order for me to have an appointment on there. I don't have the law right before me, but ultimately, what would happen is there would be not a fair balance on the appointment structure, and therefore politics could be played.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I accepted that. I said, all right, fair enough. I think that could be changed, because, of course, I don't want them appointing 10 people who are going to just try to undermine me in respect to my constituency or any other constituency for that fact. And the sad part is we're discussing politics within councils already before we even try to implement it. So you can see that there's a problem. So I said, well, what can we do? Can we get this done? So, well, why don't you put it to a standing house committee, so the whole house can go through the law and say, how can it be fair that the appointment won't be politically used in a negative way? So I accepted that after talking with some of the other opposition members, some of the people that I trust in the House, and say, okay, then it's better than getting nothing, because the government straight up even said it before with the negotiations. We are not going to support it in its current form. So it was just going to be me beating them up, saying, they don't keep their promises, and everybody already knows that part.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they've already admitted that they're not going to support it right now.
Okay, so question for you, Mr. Bryan. So the committee of the whole House, that will take place before the House is dissolved?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, well, let me clarify that is the intention. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is, as soon as the House is dissolved, ask for the clerk to have a meeting as soon as practicable. Now, the call for that House, one of the key things that came up after the
I should point out, when I say dissolve, I mean before the elections, which is March of 2021.
Yes. Before the House is dissolved, we have 2 more meetings.
Mm-hmm.
So my intention is to get the clerk to call for the House to have this select committee start the discussions on the reform or the changes that they see or feel that is necessary. So she needs to call with the discussion between herself and the Speaker of the House. When is an available date between now and the House dissolving for us to do that? And then the next hope that I have to cross my fingers and hope that happens is that the government members actually show up, because we need to have a quorum. Now, this is a fear that I have, but I don't have much choices in this position, because I am of the minority of the House. So I can only hope for the best. They said they are committed to that. It's kind of a wait and see again. So first meeting, I'm going to be keeping the public well aware as to that process, and I'm going to keep on it, and hopefully they keep to their word, and we actually all come down there and have an input into what can be the law that everybody can agree to, so we can actually get the district council's law in place, because it's very important to the involvement through the grassroots level, the average person being able to tell their MLAs exactly what they want from them in their communities.
Okay, you may or may not know, have the answer to this one, but when I look at the law itself, it says not in force, even though it gives date in terms of when it was gazetted and everything else. So if it isn't in force yet, the House would still have the ability to amend that piece of legislation as is. Yeah,
okay. and that's my point. My point is that the select committee will be doing the amendments that they find that feel fit.
Okay.
And then we technically speaking, we can make the amendment through discussion through a select committee, and in the last sitting of the House or the second to last sitting of the House before the House is dissolved, we can get the law that everybody should be happy with, get it enacted, that hopefully we can have one even before or just as soon as the election is done. Because what I pointed out in my closing argument is that if we have a government that has a majority who goes, I do not like this law, the way it's formulated, I don't have any power to force them to do so. Now I can highlight and say, oh, they're really bad people. They don't want the people to have their say, but that ain't going to change anything. That's still not going to change the fact that the council is not implemented. So I compromised by saying, okay, I'll see you halfway. If you say this is what you want to get it, then I'll work with you and you can work with me, and let's get this ball rolling because it's very important. Now, let's see if they're going to come the halfway that they promised that they will. So that's where we're at right now. It's a compromise I thought that was the best that I could. If I was the majority, the law would be in place because I would just not make the simple fact is the Premier can say, okay, then even though I make the appointment, I'll just take the decision from the elected member to make the appointment. That solves that problem. But I think much of this is disguised under the fact that they really just don't want it. But I can only go based on what they're saying. So I'm playing like what the good Dr. Steve Macfield taught me before I even got elected. I'm playing the game. Let's see if they're really telling the truth or they're just BSing me and the people. But I don't have a choice in this matter, so I have to play the game.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it certainly does. Doc,
do you have
any question or any observation before?
Well, as a person who is older than you are and understands the political system, I have a degree in political science and history, and I understand the Westminster system, how it works, and I followed some of the great leaders in the colonies. Dr. Eric Williams, Norman Manley, even the old wise Sir Alexander Bustamante, Nkrumah, Kenyatta. I've read all of their biographies and followed them, and I know that you cannot trust a position where the government does not want to implement a law. You cannot you cannot change the rights in a law by establishing another law. I know that's a rule that you do not do in politics. And so what I would have done as a seasoned politician, I would have called the vote and call for the vote and let them vote yes or no. And then I would see what the people of the Cayman Islands would think about the vote going into an election in 2000 in May next year. That would have been the best thing for you to do. Call the vote. And put it to the vote and get a division of who was for and who was against. Who was for and who was against. Because when you send things to committee, what committee does is take the guts out of legislation, and when it comes out of committee, it has no teeth. And you will soon find that out. If you ever get into the committee stage and out of it, you'll soon find that out yourself.
Okay.
Well, Dr. Steve, I'll say this. In respect to you saying that that would have been the best thing for me to basically see where they're at going into an election, but it wouldn't have been the best thing for the people.
Okay.
I don't make decisions based on what's the best thing for me politically. Getting to beat them up and get them to sort of say no and then go into election and say, yeah, see, they don't believe in the people. The people already know that. I've already accomplished the fact. They've already admitted that they don't want the law. My goal is to get the law enacted. Now, if there's an avenue, if there's one little slightly window open in the corner, I have to take that chance for my people. This is not about me. It's not about just beating them up for politics. The goal is the district council's implementation. Now, if the only way I'm going to get it is through this, even if it's a very small chance, I'm going to take it because it's for the people. I'm not doing it for just re-election.
Right. And if you don't get it, you still have that platform there, during the campaign to say what transpired and what didn't transpire.
And as far as I'm saying, Mr. Brian, you don't need to go to committee to fix that law. It could all be done. It could all be done by regulations, read in cabinet. It doesn't need to go into committee. And the problem with it is that most of the things that they say is wrong with it, like as you said,
one of the ministers saying that it was enacted when we had 6 districts. It also provides for single member constituencies, and it took into account that we would have more districts, electoral districts. So they haven't read the bill.
But he does have a point when it comes to the appointment of members. to it.
Well, you know,
I think that's that's quite a valid point.
Well, it is quite a valid point. But nowhere in the world, when you look at advisory district councils, they are all appointed. Mm-hmm. Because it's advisory. It's advisory. They're all appointed. And the first advisory district council that we ever had in Cayman was in 1956 when the Commissioner Major Donalds had an advisory district council to advise him what would happen going into the new constitution in 1959. Okay. He had Duke and Marion. He had Willa Farrington. He had Mr. Ormond Panton and Warren Conley. All of those, they were appointed by him to advise him of the things that we needed to do to prepare the country to go into a 1959 constitution. Advisory councils are all appointed.
Mm-hmm. Now, Mr. Bryan, I know you have to get ready for the LA soon, so I want to give you an opportunity if there's anything else you want to say before you go.
Yeah, well, I just want us to recognize that Dr. Steve Macfield is no fool. Mm-hmm. I think that he recognizes the obvious, which is everybody else is obvious as well. Now, I think what we're saying here is this government is just trying its best to maneuver a way of not getting this implemented right now. Right? Now, it's whether or not that is genuine or not. So I have to sadly say this, play the game with them. They say, okay, that is your excuse that the law is imperfect. Well, let's fix it together. Now, you're right, they could have fixed it in regulation, they could have fixed it themselves in their drafting team, but they're saying they're too busy for that. Okay, well, let's do it in the committee stage. All right, I'll agree to that. So I'm taking what I can take for the people. That's ultimately all this is. And if it boils down that we can, by way of absolute examination, see that this is really them don't want to hear from the people, we will know that by election. Yep. So I think we will ultimately we'll get that information regardless of whether they voted against it last night or we go to a select committee. Mm-hmm. My goal is to get the power back to the people. So if I don't get it this way, I'll get it after the elections.
Certainly.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Bryan, thank you very much. We're going to go to a commercial break. I just want to say quickly, the irony of all of this is that the man whose this is his brainchild is sitting in the chair where he does not have as much influence and much say in relation to the bill. And even at the committee stage, I'm made to understand there are questions as to to what level will the speaker be able to participate, in that as well. This is his brainchild.
Yes.
This is his. Time for us to take a commercial break. We do have a caller on hold. We will take that caller as soon as we return. So, folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Stronger, wider, higher, lighter. The all-new Ford Ranger Raptor.
Powerfully built with a 2.0 diesel Panther engine and 210 horsepower. Modern with leather interior and 8-inch touchscreen, Sync 3 technology and power features. Tough. Built to handle the off-road with 4-wheel drive, terrain modes, and 10-speed automatic transmission. Coming early October to Vamped Motors, Walkers Road. To find out more and to test drive the bold new Ford Ranger Raptor, visit Vamped Motors, Walkers Road, or call 949-8288. Green Turtle. Modern solutions to get you through the new normal. Download the Green Turtle app now and top up yours or a loved one's phone with any mobile carrier in any destination. Home delivery of laptops, tablets, phones, accessories, and iTunes and major online retailer gift cards. And now, home deliveries of groceries and courier service. Guaranteed delivery within 2 hours from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Visit their list of products at greenturtle.ky or download the Green Turtle app today. Green Turtle is not only the future of mobile, but today it can help save a life. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app. The future of mobile, saving lives today.
No, man. My bill seem huge again, and I don't know what to do about it. I gotta look some help.
We can help. The Ministry of Commerce, Planning and Infrastructure has teamed up with CUC to give you the chance to win a home energy makeover worth up to $20,000. Not only will this lower your utility bills, it will increase your home's value. We are also giving away 8 home energy audits worth up to $1,900 each. Open to all homeowners in Grand Cayman. Entry is now open via www.energy.gov.ky/competition. Proudly sponsored by CEL Cooling, Mitsubishi, Phone Pros, Cooling Pros, and more. Use less, save more. Enter today.
Over 60 years ago, we started as an insurance company to put people first. Today, with all of the challenges our world is facing, that mission has never been more important. Brit-K is now CG Brit-K. And though our name has changed, our purpose hasn't. We are still the same people-first company we've always been. And we're here for you, stronger than ever. CG Brit-K.
It's time to buy smart. It's time to buy Ropers. Find everything for your home and kitchen at low prices at Ropers, your neighborhood store. Value, integrity. Ropers also offers complete janitorial service for commercial, industrial, and residential. They get the job done right every time. 122 Industrial Way, 949-2511, or email janitorial@ropers.ky. Clean up your spending with Ropers and stay prepared. 949-2511. Ropers, providing products and services for better public health.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. No one can stop me when I taste the beer. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, Cayman.
Nominations are now open for the 2021 National Heroes Day Awards for Seafaring Heritage. Nomination forms are available from the Ministry of Health, Environment, Culture and Housing, Government Administration Building in Georgetown, Grand Cayman, the Cayman Islands Seafarers Association in Prospect, Grand Cayman, the District Administration, Government Administration Building in Cayman Brac, and online at celebratecayman.ky, the Ministry of Health.gov.ky. Deadline for submissions is Saturday, 31st October 2020. Only completed nominations received by the deadline will be considered.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record, with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We have 2 callers on hold. Dr. Steve McFeel in the studio with me. We are discussing the private member's motion brought forward by MLA Mr. Kenneth Bryan, the representative for Georgetown Central in our legislative assembly. It has to do with advisory district councils. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, good morning.
Good morning. How are you, ma'am?
Pretty good. I was listening to you at all this morning. I thought yesterday was Friday. I kept saying, where's OC? Where's OC? But today is Friday. Is Sterling going to be on this afternoon?
I am not sure. If he's not on, then someone would probably be guest hosting for him. I am not, so I'm not sure.
Yeah. What I call you for OC? We been talking about this domestic partnership here in the Cayman Islands.
Mm-hmm.
I've not been following it. I don't know if it's approved or if it's on hold or what the situation is. I just want to say that one thing. I want to start with that domestic partnership, and then you got people who want ganja to be legalized in the Cayman Island, who wants to farm it here and create work and whatever, and good help for the people that is sick and need this marijuana, which I'm not into that. I'm taking it from that. But what I want to say is, we have raffles on vehicles for a certain time of the year. We have raffle here, we have raffle there, right? So the whole island from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
I want. I cannot understand how we can have schools. I don't know if the private schools do it, but I know for sure the public schools do. Why is it that kids have to pay to dress down to go to school on a certain day of the month and a certain day of the week? And where is that money going to? And why is it happening? Because I call that gambling. I don't know what you call it. I don't know, Mr. Max, you call it.
Gambling is normally considered a game of chance, right? But having someone, let me finish. Having someone pay because you're normally required to wear a uniform in school, but if something is being celebrated and you want to participate in that, then you give a donation and you get to be able to not have to wear a uniform. That's not a game of chance. So yeah, the two are not equal.
I understand that just now this money is going to various stuff in the school system. I don't know if it's going into the music or it's going. I don't know what's going into.
Mm-hmm.
But you're going to say it's not considered gambling. I mean, OC, you look at it from your point of view. I am gonna look at it from my
well,
point of view.
if we look at the dictionary's description of it, it won't tell you that is call. This one we're gonna have to agree to disagree on, but it's not gambling.
So when someone said a number, what is that?
Oh, that's different. That's a game of chance. That's gambling.
So when a child got to take $3 to school to give a teacher to enter onto the compound for the day with her.
But they can enter the compound in their uniform without having to, and so it's a choice. It's a choice.
It is a choice.
Yeah.
It is a choice, but I just can't see the logic in it.
Mm-hmm.
You understand where I'm coming from? I'm not here trying to criticize nobody,
mm-hmm.
but I'm trying to find out really where does this just down. What category that comes down
mm-hmm.
into.
Government does it. Government does it occasionally as well.
And remember now, it was $1 many years ago. Now it's on to $3, and I'm quite sure by next year it'll be $5. And a lot of kids dress down. But also, you know something? I got that discussion no more because I think we're gonna see eye to eye on this because right now we got kids that are so in need, and to how to want to dress down and beg their mother or father, please, I want to dress down so they can. I have a pair of new jeans I want to wear to school, which is all good and well. But they got to sacrifice something to give that child that $3 plus their lunch money. But we're not gonna make no head on this right now. We'll see that talk about it another time.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
All right, my dear. Have a good weekend. Next caller. Good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Morning, OC.
Good morning, Mr. Speaker. How are you, sir?
And good morning to you.
Yours must have been ringing because I think I called your name when I went to the last commercial break. Not your name, but the position.
Good morning, Mr. Speaker.
Good morning, Dr. Steve. I want to just say that as the Speaker of the House, I'm going to, as soon as it's practicable,
mm-hmm.
Call the meeting. Have the clerk call the meeting.
Okay.
And then we'll take it from there.
Mm-hmm.
But that is as soon as is possible.
Mm-hmm.
We are in the house, and we might be here for 3 weeks. I'm not sure.
Wow.
But I'm hoping that can be done sometime in next month, God willing, to be able to set up the chairman, etc. And then we can set times for the meeting.
Mm-hmm.
But a select committee of the House means that we have to have a quorum of the House, minimum of 10 members. So, as everyone knows, we are still in the throes of COVID-19. Our government is still battling issues with that, serious issues,
mm-hmm.
serious decisions to be made. And so, as soon as it's practicable, we will meet, or I will call, definitely, the meeting to select the chairman and set times, etc., for meetings. I want to say that everyone knows that I support district councils. I do not support I do not support anything that would bring us closer to a local government system. I propose on the UDP, and I must say this here this morning, because me, and they don't call anybody else's name besides me, started that because I believed in it. I wanted a Senate where we could put prominent Caymanians or people with knowledge, doctors, if you needed, etc., who will not stand for in the
public office, yes,
of public office and in politics, and so they would be able to make a contribution that's needed, and in fact, that the House and as a member and as government, you have someone looking over your shoulders to help you, and that's basically what a Senate in most places are. Well, that was not possible to get, and therefore I came up with these district councils. It was the UDP again, led by me, that put that forward and campaigned on it. And we put it forward because I was doing it exactly opposite to what people were accusing me. Oh, he don't want nobody to tell him anything. He's a dictator, and he's making all these decisions on his own. Well, that was not true. And I wanted the district councils, and that was a way of having people involved and getting inclusive governance. That's the way I see.
Right.
And I employed Mr. Macfield as a lawyer, as a Caymanian lawyer, to help me push these issues and make sure that they're done legally and correct. He was employed to do that.
Yes.
And the legal department drafted what we asked them to do in that bill. Well, we got nowhere because we wanted both sides, and people in my district, which was the first one we were setting up, would not accept, people in the opposition would not accept to come on board. They would not accept the appointment. And so we got nowhere with it at that point. Now we have a chance. It's a select committee, and we waited all this time. We are 5 months away from the House being prorogued. I don't know how much we can get done, but as I said, we have to recognize that the government has this serious issue. Nobody can say that this is not a serious issue. This matter of the COVID-19 is bringing changes and bringing issues to the forefront every day. Every day.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, would you say that the bill or the law that is that we actually have drafted now, that was approved by the Legislative Assembly, can form the foundation and the basis for what is to come in the future? That there's there are lots of things in this bill that can still be used rather than having to rewrite the whole thing?
Well, the select committee is not to rewrite a whole bill.
Okay.
It is to a select committee is to be able to add value to what's
there. Okay.
What we have, or take away something that we've done necessary.
Right.
It is 9 years since that was 2011, I think it was.
14th of February.
Yes, it's 9 years since then, and so look how many changes has been made. Look at it. The world has been turned upside down financially on one part. 2008, we had that, but that's afterwards, of course. But we're still suffering from those effects, and so there are tremendous changes that we face now that we didn't face then. And so whether we get the community to cooperate, it can be another thing. As I said, I tried to get two reputable, I think it was 2 or 3 reputable people appointed, and so agreed to be appointed, and they didn't agree. There were elections held in my district, even to elections so that there were people that agreed to come on and serve, but we didn't want to go forward. Although I tell you this, some people in the community say to me, if nobody wants to come on, that you feel that either are independent enough or are outright opposition, that they don't want to come on, go ahead and form this thing. But I didn't look at it that way. I wanted the opposition and independent, if necessary, to be represented.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I commend you for getting that into the Constitution, Section 119, and of course we took your instructions and we did exactly what you said. One of the things I found when I went around the country trying to explain the contents of the bill, of the law, to many of the audiences that we had. I remember when we came into Georgetown that when they asked me who could be members of the committee of the advisory council, and I says anyone who was resident in the district could become advisory, and then people said, do they have to be voters? And I says no, they don't have to be voters. They can be anybody who has something to contribute to the district, architect, ordinary people, or dishwasher, anyone, as long as they reside in the district. And then there's a big hush in the crowd. And then when I came out that evening, I heard people saying, well, they don't want any foreigners onto the district council. And that was one of the big things in Georgetown, that they thought that people who were not eligible to vote would become members of the district. Well, that's what the advisory council is about. It's about getting all of the expertise that you have in your district. So advise the.
That is right. Remember this came out of the idea that people must have a say in what affects them.
Exactly, their communities. Yeah.
At a district level rather than a national level as such, because it takes more to get at the national level. And as I said, at the national level would have been a Senate sitting in the Assembly. That didn't happen, and so we thought, the UDP thought, that to get people and give the kind of governance that people were asking and talking about and accusing us that we didn't want to do, well, let's get a district council, because these are things that say, no, we don't need a road there, but we need one here.
Yes.
You know, it is so many issues that are affecting people's lives in Cayman now, you know. And so that was the purpose of having that, so that people could have a say. And so if you live here and you wasn't born here, but you're being affected by a road, want to run through your house, or run through your front yard, well, again, lawfully, the person has a say.
And I just want to say to you, Mr. Speaker, now that you are going to have an autonomous legislative assembly, don't you think that it may be time now? You said that time has passed. It's been nearly 10 years now since I think it's 10 years since you have the new constitution, the 2009 constitution. Don't you think that it's time now that you should go back now? Or you should. I don't know, in your role of speaker, but you should be advocating now to go back to your original intention of having a Senate.
I still believe that we should have the Senate. Cayman is not a huge country in miles.
They have Senate in Turks and Caicos. I mean, and they have Senate in British Virgin.
Bermuda has it.
Bermuda has it.
TCI doesn't have, though. TCI doesn't.
When we look at the issues that we face as a country, it's always good to get ideas. I know there are many committees from the private sector on finance, etc., and basically on finance, but there are all kinds of committees the government has to cope with, and so I certainly feel that we are not big enough and should not spend the money on any huge system of local governance, except for the district-type councils, where you're appointed and where you can be appointed. You'll be appointed by government, but you'll be elected to be appointed, because that's what we were doing in West Bay. We were giving people a chance and giving people who came, and we had a good attendance.
That's right. That's right. We have overwhelming attendance on the meetings that we had.
Mr. Speaker, before you go, question in relation to
make it absolutely clear, Rosie, I always will support a Senate.
Okay, yeah, and a Senate is good because it is a good breeding ground for young politicians as well. If you look at Bermuda, for instance, in the last election in Bermuda, you have several members of the Senate who were appointed to the Senate to give them some experience in the Senate. They turned around afterwards and they were able to then run in the general election and win a seat. But not also you're able to draw into the executive ministers from the Senate if you have a Senate as well. But Mr. Speaker, in relation to the establishment of a committee of the whole House, because you are such an integral part of this piece of legislation, like I said before, and I'm not saying it simply because I have you on the line, this is your brainchild. Will you be able to participate in the select committee in relation to this as a speaker?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes. I can be the chairman. I can be the chairman.
Okay.
But it's left up to the committee to appoint the chairman now. I can be the chairman, and most select committees, such as these, for instance, not everyone, but because it could be something on immigration, a select committee of the whole House. But mostly the whole House committees, committee of the whole House, is chaired by the presiding officer.
Okay.
So, Mr. Speaker, just let me ask you before you go. I know you go. Are you going to call witnesses to the to the committee?
Well, that will be the prerogative of the committee.
Okay.
But a committee of the whole House, usually it goes by the committee, the rules outlined for committees, and that is one of those rules are that you can call witnesses.
Mr. Speaker?
And I say I have no problem. I would have no problem with that because you want to hear. I mean, you want it. You don't. When you go in this route now, it's no sense to rush it, you know. And that's what I want to say too.
Yeah, we have an opportunity to get it right.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And we're talking about refitting. Well, this is one of the things that we can refit with.
Okay, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you very much. Thank you very much. All the best.
Thank you both.
We're going to take our last commercial break. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Hi, I'm remodeling our bathroom. I have a few questions.
Sure.
What are some ideas to make my bathroom feel larger? How do I know if I'm picking the right vanity? How do I choose a new toilet or a new countertop? Also, the lighting is terrible. Can I put a window or a skylight? And do I really need an exhaust fan?
You've come to the right place. At Brand Source, we custom design kitchen and baths, and our talented design team can help answer your questions. Whether you're looking for a modern, functional family bathroom or a luxurious personal retreat, we'll help create that beautiful space that makes your home yours. And if you're in a rush for a new look and have a limited budget, our ready-to-install bathroom vanities built with solid wood and countertops of the finest materials are a quick and easy remodeling solution.
For the very best in custom-designed kitchens and baths, visit Brand Source Home Gallery on Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, Cayman's Kitchen and Bath Center.
No, man. My bills seem huge again, and I don't know what to do about it. I gotta look some help.
We can help. The Ministry of Commerce, Planning and Infrastructure has teamed up with CUC to give you the chance to win a home energy makeover worth up to $20,000. Not only will this lower your utility bills, it will increase your home's value. We are also giving away 8 home energy audits worth up to $1,900 each. Open to all homeowners in Grand Cayman. Entry is now open via www.energy.gov.ky/competition. Proudly sponsored by CEL Cooling, Mitsubishi, Foam Pros, Cooling Pros, and more. Use less, save more. Enter today.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, Cayman.
It's time to buy smart. It's time to buy Ropers. Find everything for your home and kitchen at low prices. Ropers, appliances, dishware, bulk foods, and so much more. With huge savings, Ropers is stocked for your hurricane supplies. Don't cut back on your needs. Cut back on your spending with Ropers, your neighborhood store. Value, integrity. Ropers Enterprises, 122 Industrial Way. Call 949-2511. Clean up your spending with Ropers. Ropers, providing products and services for better public health.
Green Turtle. Modern solutions to get you through the new normal. Download the Green Turtle app now and top up yours or a loved one's phone with any mobile carrier in any destination. Home delivery of laptops, tablets, phones, accessories, and iTunes and major online retailer gift cards. And now, home deliveries of groceries and courier service. Guaranteed delivery within 2 hours from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Visit their list of products at greenturtle.ky or download the Green Turtle app today. Green Turtle is not only the future of mobile, but today it can help save a life. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app, the future of mobile, saving lives today.
An alarming number of teens are drinking alcohol, which makes it urgent to find every opportunity to talk to your kids about the dangers of underage drinking. They really do hear you. For tips on what to say, visit ndc.ky. This is a public service message from the National Drug Council and Radio Cayman.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record, with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We're on the last leg of the show this morning with Dr. Steve Macfield. One of our listeners has written in, Doc, and said, please remind Dr. Macfield to explain indefeasible rights and how that should affect the changes the government is proposing for registering beach accesses.
Well, indefeasible right when it comes to the beach accesses, the law says that once you have been using the beach or any pathway to the beach where you are swimming, bathing, picnicking, fishing, and it's incidental thereto, that you have indefeasible right. Means that right, once you have been using it for 20 years, that right is entrenched in law. It cannot be taken away by another law, and it cannot be eroded by time. It is a right in rem. It means it's a right against the whole world for the people who have been using the beach for those things that the law say that you have been using them for, You cannot then pass a law to take those rights, pass a law that take those rights away.
By allowing somebody to object?
By allowing some to object to those rights because those rights are entrenched. And the only objections that you could have would be the original rights, 1882, when the time started to run against the landowner for those rights. And once the 20 years has been run against the landowners do not have a right to object to the use of those, the beach.
Even if it changes hands.
Even if it changes hands, it's a right that runs with the land. It doesn't run with the individual.
Yes, okay.
With the owner, it runs with the land, and it's a right that cannot be taken away by another law. And to do that is what we call in law dictatorship or procedural irregularity.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Doc. We're going to take our last call for the morning. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC. Good morning, Dr. Macfield.
Hey, good morning. Good morning. How are you?
I am good, OC. I'm going to just go a little bit off your subject. I want to ask a question.
Sure, go right ahead.
Okay, at the last moment, before the COVID done, people were applying for business license, trading business license, and a lot got deferred. Due to the fact that people are small business trying to set up something that they can work, but they defer them because they don't have a contract or a lease agreement with somewhere of their location. I think that needs to be changed, is my opinion, that after you apply for the trading business license, once you get a place established and establish your business, you write a letter back to DCI and say, now I am located at such and such a place, with a letter showing them where your location is. This is
and the evidence of the lease at that time rather than having to have the lease before, because you may end up getting a lease and then not getting the trade and business license, and then you've spent money and you're stuck with the lease.
exactly. This is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So they have deferred so many people because of that fact. And I know they were processing over like 500 trade and business license, but they just sent it back. Sorry, deferred. Why? We want a lease agreement for a building. That's doesn't, because you are a small business owner.
We're losing you, caller. You're drifting off.
I'm sorry, and then I'm sorry. You can hear me better now?
Much better.
Okay, and you're just going to try to set up a new company, but you don't have a location as yet because you're just going to establish the business. Okay, Dr. Maxfield, can you give me a feedback on that? I'm going to hang up and listen because
before you go though, are they still against or adverse to persons operating businesses from their home, especially if there is no traffic? When I say traffic, I mean persons coming and going, that you just basically, whatever you're doing, it's being done electronically or otherwise. Are they still granting trade and business license for those situations?
They're still granting for those situations, but what you have to do is go to the planning department, pay $25, and state that you're going to work from home and you're not going to have any signs and you're not going to have more than one vehicle parked in your yard. So that's another thing that needs to be sorted.
Okay, Doc?
Well, I don't know much about the trade and business license. I haven't done much work in that field. I suppose that the trade and business license law probably needs to go to a committee also, and to have people like the caller have an input into it, and then it should come back and then be revised. I know that they have issued so many trade and business license over the last 4 years or 5 years now. I was at the in that section there because I was trying to get a certificate of good standing for a company, and the people I saw applying for trade and business license law, there were so many of them. You wonder how, and especially for construction, there were so many people getting trade and business license for construction. You remember, where's the work? I mean, where are all these people that are going to be doing the construction work?
You read that Ivan and did us again, right?
Exactly, yes. So perhaps that's all I can say on it because it's not something that I'm very familiar with.
Caller, I want to thank you very much for that as well. Doc, when was this? Wednesday, I think, on Wednesday, I shared this with my audience. An editorial on the 12th of October 1967 in the Trade Winds newspaper. And the reason I'm sharing this now is because we didn't get an opportunity to talk about the Deputy Leader of the Opposition and MLA, Mr. Alvasuku's private member's motion in terms of reaffirming our support for Section 60 and 92 of the Constitution. Anyway, the two sections that relate, one to elected membership in the qualifications for elected membership in the Legislative Assembly, and the other one in terms of qualifications to be an elector, because of the Foreign Affairs Committee's recommendation in relation to British citizens and persons resident in the Cayman Islands having that ability. So in 1967, there was an editorial in the Trade Winds newspaper, and it's entitled Inconsistency. And it reads, "Inconsistency seems to be the special trademark of most politicians. And inconsistency was aptly demonstrated at the session of the Legislative Assembly on September the 21st and 22nd. Mr. Burns Ruddy, one of the elected members from Cayman Brac, moved that the membership of non-Caymanians in the Legislative Assembly be restricted to those who have lived in the islands for at least 20 years. This was a mere... the article goes on to say, the editorial goes on to say, this was a move to virtually prevent non-Caymanians from seeking election, scarcely anyone would wait 20 years to attempt to seek political honors anywhere. One would sympathize with Mr. Ruddy and the supporters of his resolution. On the face value of the resolution, it would be ideal for Caymanians alone to be elected to our legislative assembly and to make the laws that should govern us. However, it was brought out in the debate that the motive behind the resolution was personal. Both Mr. Ruddy and Captain Keith Tibbetts, who is from the BRAC and who seconded the motion, sold the assembly on that particular idea because they wanted to safeguard their own seats. Now, I wonder if the writer of this editorial, if they were around today, what they would be saying when we're trying to safeguard those same rights that Mr. Burns Ruddy and Captain Keith were trying to safeguard then. But the funny thing about it is that 1967, here we are 53 years later, and we're having to do the same thing again to reaffirm what we say, what we have in our Constitution, and what our election laws say in relation to these things.
Well, yeah.
It's so ironic.
It's ironic that we have the same problem, and that is because we have most of the same people running the system. That's the whole problem. But let me just read what Section 61 says, okay? If you have time. It says qualifications for elected membership of the Legislative Assembly. It says subject to Section 62. A person shall be qualified to be elected as a member of the Legislative Assembly if and shall not be qualified to be so elected unless he is or she is a Caymanian and he or she has attained the age of 21 years old and he or she is at the date of his or her nomination for election domicile and residence in the Cayman Islands, and he or she is a qualified citizen, and either he or she was born in the Cayman Islands or was born outside the Cayman Islands. In the circumstances mentioned in subsection 2B, has resided in the Cayman Islands for a period of not less than 7 years immediately preceding the date of his or her nomination for election, and subject to subsection 3, the number of days in which he or she was absent from the Cayman Islands in that period does not exceed 40. So it seems to me, Ori, that unless there's an amendment, a substantial amendment to Section 61, it's going to be impossible for many people to be elected to get a membership in the Legislative Assembly, even if they're English, even if they come from England. So I don't think that...
But they were pushing, the Foreign Affairs Committee is pushing...
They're pushing for an amendment to Section 61?
Or to discuss with discuss with the various authorities in the jurisdictions, you know, how to
well, they would have to have a substantial amendment to Section 61 for that to happen.
Yeah.
They would have to go back to the drawing board, and they would have to take out all of these things that I just said to you.
Well, which leads me to this. You know, at the end of the day, this one would really be pushing the envelope if it was to come into force, if it were to happen. That plus the requirements to be an elector as well. Two things that I want to say in that regard. I put this to our legislators out there that someone needs to bring a private motion, members' motion to the Legislative Assembly. And I believe where Mr. Dennis Warren or someone had written to the governor, I think it was Mr. Dennis Warren, written to the governor in relation to inviting members of the special committee to come to the Cayman Islands. We need a private members' motion in the Legislative Assembly.
Yes.
Requesting the United Kingdom, the governor, to advise the United Kingdom government to invite the special committee to come to the Cayman Islands to advise the people of the Cayman Islands on the options that we have under Section 73E of the United Nations Charter.
Yes,
we need to have that. Let's see how many members of the Legislative Assembly are going to vote against that as well, because we keep hearing more and more politicians saying we need to start looking down the road. We need to start to look, and we need to start to discuss what our options are. And before I give you an opportunity for some more closing comments, I was sitting down thinking the other day, and I heard one of the members of the Legislative Assembly talking about the three branches of government: the executive, the legislative, and the judicial. I have added a fourth. We have the executive, we have the legislative, and we have the judicial, and then we have the United Kingdom, which is the first, which is the biggest one. They're the top. So the other branch of government that we have is the United Kingdom, because they can impose legislation on us at any point in time. So we have two set of legislators in the Cayman Islands. We have our local legislators, and we have the UK as legislators. So we have four branches of government. That's just my take.
That's true. And I would just like to say already in closing that simplistic barbs and comments about a governor will not cause a united faction to successfully fight against colonial overreach. What we need is unity in the country. We need unity among the politicians. That's what we need. And I believe that the noise of the electorate are not being transmitted to the ears of the politicians. Now, some politicians, it seems to me, are in political bubbles. They're in zones of exclusiveness, and some of them are mere clones of what the late Commissioner Gerard and the late Governor Long found here not so long ago. Opportunists and cruel to each other, and their political script has not changed from the days their social production life is the same. There is lack of leadership, especially in the so-called what we so-call the independent opposition. There's lack of leadership there, and there's no political education, and there's no mass community education and political education. I would just like to leave this with some people have been asking me about you just made remarks about the United Nations, and some people have been asking me about how they can get information about the United Nations and
scholarships,
about international, the procedures and the international law. When I went to law school and I was taking in private international law, two of the best readers that I had outside of the textbooks was something written by a woman called Jessica Lund Parsons, and she writes a book called Defending Empire at the United Nations, the Politics, the Colonial Oversight in the Area of Development. And there's another book by a man called Sir Alan Burns, and it's called In the Defense of the Colonies.
Yes.
Those are some things that people should start reading if they want to actually get information and know how to interact with their politicians and about the future of the country. And like I said, one of the things that is lacking, and that's the reason why I say that we're not ready yet for no independence, is unity. You have to be unified when you go into independence, and you have to be unified when you're talking about further self-determination. Unity, unity, unity. That's what we seem to be lacking in the country. And unless we put ourselves in that unified position, we are just going to be beating our head against a hard place and criticizing a governor about his position in 81 and so forth, and we're not going to be any better off.
We've gone way over time, so I'm not even going to have my closing comments this morning. I just want to say to everyone, please stay safe, have a great weekend. Remember, COVID-19 is still around, so we want to make sure that we observe all of the necessary safety protocols as well. God bless these three Cayman Islands.
For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. K-Man Pharmacy Group, with a location in West Bay and professional pharmacy at CTMH Doctors Hospital. The K-Man Pharmacy Group has a location for you just around the corner. Seaboard Marine, with over 35 shipping ports, find your shipping solution by calling 949-4977 or visit seaboardmarine.com for competitive rates. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. And Fidelity Bank. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Also brought to you by Ropers Enterprises, 122 Industrial Way. Products and services for better public health. Green Turtle. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app, the future of mobile, saving lives today. And the Ministry of Commerce, Planning and Infrastructure. Visit energy.gov.ky/competition to